So I'm now in Akhaltsikhe, which is a small peaceful town in the mid-lowland western Georgia. Relatively speaking, it's lowland. I'm now on my way up to Rabati Fortress, a originally 9th century fortress, which is the main attraction in town. So the ticket price is 18 lari for an adult, for any adult. The closing hour is 10 o'clock in the evening, a lot of time. And the guest house owner said that this is a beautiful place in the evening, so I might hang around for a while. Most castles or fortresses in Caucasus I've been to has been mostly empty shells, but this looks quite different. Over there you have the new town, which obviously is quite new. And this is obviously a place where you actually are allowed to walk around a bit, which is definitely not always the case. For European, it's kind of unusual to see this kind of stone being used to build a fortress. I'm more used to big stone blocks, big rocks being used for this. And those wooden balconies is a heritage from the Turks, which took the city in 1576. And at that point the place became a seat for a pasha, which is a noble. And so a pasha can be a governor, it can be a military leader, it can be it's a man of high rank, noble rank. And he became the leader, the boss of this area. But it's very easy to see that these are reconstructions, not originals or old constructions in any way. They knew what it looked like and have reconstructions from that, but those structures are obviously very new. So now I go to the upper part of the fortress, where you need a ticket. The lower places for the lower part is for free, but up here you need a ticket. But you have to buy that ticket at the entrance down there. A lot of reconstruction here. I wonder how accurate it is. The right side is obviously original walls, 100%. On the left you have a lot of reconstructed structures. But in any case, this has sort of the impression of a boy's dream castle when it comes to passages, stairs, caves, rooms, towers, corners. So it's probably the most interesting fortress I've been to in Georgia and Armenia as well this summer. And here you have the old town, which is relatively new compared to the town's real age, which is Bronze Age. And over there is a new town with a lot of Soviet infrastructure. There are really a lot of towers here, and you actually have a double wall, 2 walls. So getting in here would be quite of a job. And this is the place as seen from an attacker's perspective after conquering the first wall. Up there is the innermost fortress, the last stand hill, so to say. I wonder if those stones belonged together and it was actually a grave. It looks sort of a sarcophagus-like. But this one, and particularly this one, is very easy to recognize what is. It's an oil press. You would have a massive rock on top here, which will press down on the oil, which will be on top here. And as the olive squashed, the oil would float out here and be gathered in a sort of a jar down here. Those are millstones for grinding grain. Bread must have been important then, as it is now. From the local graveyard, these stones look very much like the Kachar stones in Armenia. I will link the video from the Kachar website in Armenia so you can see for yourself. It is really the same deal. And it's interesting to see that in addition to the Kachar-like stones, grave markers, you also have from the Muslim world here. And actually some with Georgian script as well. Georgian alphabet, which is a very old alphabet. It's not a constructed alphabet, constructed in the name of national identity. It's a very old, genuine alphabet, part of the cultural heritage in this country. So it's very easy to see that several different cultures has been here. I don't know who he was, but he looks Turkish. Bronze, not stone. And this is quite big for it, but the shape of it is strikingly similar to a grain grinder as well, where people sit on their knees and grind grain with a stone they push back and forth. I have seen it many times in the third world, but they have all been smaller, but they look very similar. 1861. And here in the center is the mosque. This one was built in 1772 by Hajj Ahmed Pasha. And even though it's considerably smaller, it's built on the plan, on the basis of the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. And just like Hagia Sophia, this building as well have been both church and mosque during its lifetime. As already mentioned, this mosque was built in 1772, and it spent the next 72 years until 1828 as a mosque, and then it was converted into a church and spent the time until 1920 as a church, when it was finally decommissioned as a religious place. And 1920s fits perfectly with the Bolshevik takeover in this region. So it was probably the communists who killed this place as a religious place. And the building outside the mosque slash church is a madrasa, religious Islamic school, or it was. Yes, here we have a lot of living quarters, student cells. I believe the education itself would take place under the arches outside. That's sort of how it often was done in the old world. So all the small rooms here you see around here is most likely living quarters. Here they would come from far and wide and learn about the Holy Script, which in this case is the Quran. Just beside the mosque you have what they call a secret room, which is a treasure of wood carvings. Probably from the Turkish era. The constructions, the shape of things looks Islamic, not Christian. This cupola, for example. The Turkish control of the place ended during a battle on August 9, 1828, during the Russo-Turkic War, when 9,000 Russians beat 30,000 Turkish people. The year after, the Russian garrison was attacked by the Turks, and 9,000 Russian garrison beat 20,000 Turkish attackers. So the Turks didn't manage to get it back, and it was forever lost for the Turkic Empire, Ottoman Empire. It's the main gate, or at least one of the main gates. The church is very much closed. Sucks. It sucks. So that's inner fortress itself. The keep, as it will be called in Europe. So here's really the last stanhill, the inner tower. It's a Soviet leftover. This building a few hundred meters from the fortress is actually a Turkish hammam. What's left of it. And with all the domes, the brick domes, it looks quite similar to the hammams you find in the old town in Tbilisi. This guy has been following me for a while. He's quite contact seeking, but camera shy actually. He doesn't like the camera. I just visited the Rabati Marine Church, which supposedly had a good view over the castle and from the tower. I think it has, but I couldn't get up to the tower. Now in the residential area just below, and see if I can find an opening where I can get more or less the same view. From down here I more or less get the same view. It's lower in the terrain, so there are a lot of more things in the way. Not so photogenic, but it's more or less the same view. Looks like a Crusader castle from here. Yeah. It was not a very smart move.